Hi, I'm Kang, and I'm in civil engineering major.
Hi, I'm Fisher, and I'm in applied math major.
Hi, I'm Feng Liu, and I'm applied math major.
So let's start introduce the game. There are two players in this game, and they will roll the dice and compare the dice and who can win this game. So there are 5 dice, and there are 4 normal dice and one special dice named dice 5. The player can decide to add 1 or minus 1 in order to achieve the higher score. For the rules, as 5 of kind is 8 and 4 of kind is 7 scores and 4 house is 6 scores and so on. So let's start the games. So we turn is the round 1 and start the game. At first, the player 1 will click this, and he will see these 5 dice, and in order to achieve the higher scores, he maybe will add 1. Okay, there are 4 of kind, and now it's the player 2 round, and click this. So in order to achieve the higher scores, he
minus 1.
Minus which? This one? Minus 1. Okay. And which is greater? This.
You can first click finish rolling
Okay.
to see the score.
And now, okay. And player 1 finishes rolling and player 2 finishes rolling. So let's now see the score. The player 1 achieves the 7 and the player 2 achieves 5. So that's the end.
See the score.
Okay. So congratulations, player 1 wins the game.
I'm taking part of the comparison part. For this B1, it represents the different conditions that could happen, which is from 1 to 6, that could appear in our dice when players are rolling. And then I put all these numbers into an array. I use the length to determine how many 1s or 2s and the number from 1 to 6 that the player got. Then I sort the length into an array so that it gives me an array of lines in orders. The last value of this array represents the number that appears most consequently in the rolling, so that we can use the last number to see which combo does the player get. And as we can see here, if that number is equal to 5, which means the player get 5 same numbers, so the player get 5 in a row and they will gain 8 points. If that number is 4, the player get 4 in a row, so they will get 7 points. And that's all for our comparison.
My name is Xue Fei, and I wrote the UI part of this project, and I made many properties in the design view, and like image 1 to 10 and some player 1 score edit field and player 2 score edit field. And also I made some private properties like P1s and P2s to make my code better. And so in the function, startup function, I set some of the button to be enabled off and some of the button and edit field to visible off, because this will make the project more beautiful. And also I am read to get some picture 1 to 6, which is the dice point 1 to 6. For the first button, player 1 rolls the dice button pushed, and I use some random statement to randomly get some number to the player 1 dice, and then I use like 5 if else or else if statement to determine the number of each dice to the image. And under this if else statement, Liu Fengyi made the audio rate statement to add some sounds effect to our project. For the player 1 pass 1 button and the player 1 pass plus minus 1 button, and this is our special part that we can add 1 to the dice 5 or minus 1 to the dice 5, which will make the points bigger. And I use if statement to ensure that the number of dice 5 can only under 6 or bigger than 1. Player 2 roll the dice button is as same as player 1 roll the dice button. And also I use this like a little bit stupid method because I'm really unfamiliar with app designer's function, and I tried to do that, but I can't. And for the finish rolling button, I also write if statement to let player 1 and the player 2 both press the finish rolling button so they can press the see the score button. And in this part, Zikang made the comparison between the two player and the same as the player 2 finish rolling button. For the number of game at the field, I made that because I want to let player to decide how many games they want to play, and I made the if else statement to let player can only enter all the number of games. And then for the see the score button, I use a property times that count how many games that the two players have played, and I use the if statement to check if they finish their whole game, and I use else statement to output the congratulations information and change the background music, and finally output the game result. So this is our project.